key.
All right.
Wait for the gauges to cycle.
Are you ready, driver?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can push record.
And
I am.
and turn over the engine and
Not
turn
putting
over
your
the
face
motor.
in there. I was aiming at this.
I don't care if my face is on there. My face is on all the rest of the videos people put on there. All right, this is my seatbelt. It is securely mounted, not ripped, torn, or frayed, and it properly latches. I have my emergency equipment. Below my driver's seat, it is my fire extinguisher, and it is securely mounted and fully charged. Underneath my bed back there, if you lift it up, I have 3 red reflective triangles. And in the glove compartment, I should have spare fuses for all fuse circuits, unless equipped with a circuit breaker. I'm now going to do my safe start. I'm going to verify that my truck is in neutral. Both of my brakes are set. I'm going to turn the key to the on position. I'm going to wait for my gauges to cycle, and then I'll start the truck. Right now, my gauges are cycling. Once it cycles, I'll start the truck. All right. Now that my engine is running, I'm going to talk to you about my gauges. My temperature gauge should rise to operating range. The warning light should be off. My oil gauge should rise to operating range. The warning light should be off. Up here is your voltage. You're going to push the plus or the minus sign on the steering wheel until you find the picture of the battery, which is right here. So my voltage should rise 12 to 14 volts and the warning light should be off. My air gauges are right here. They should rise 90 to 120 psi and the warning light should be off. Next, I'm going to do my lighting indicators. Down here, I have my low beam. Up here is my high beam, so low beam and high beam indicator both work properly. My left indicator works properly. My right indicator works properly. My full-way hazard indicator works properly. My city horn and air horn both work properly. My heater and defroster works at all fan speeds. And I have nothing blocking the air on the top or the bottom. I'm gonna leave that on so you don't get hot. There we go. On fast. Next, I'm gonna talk about my windshield and mirrors. My mirrors are securely mounted. They are properly adjusted to me as the driver. All glass, okay, on my mirrors and windows, all of this, and my windshield is all securely mounted. It's clean. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged. I'll make sure it's not missing. That would be not good. And nothing is blocking the driver's view. Next, I'm going to talk about my windshield wipers and ignore my stuff on the dash. Next, windshield wipers should work at all speeds. You want to make sure that the washer fluid works properly and that it's full, so you're going to push this in. Windshield wiper fluid is full and operating properly. The windshield wipers themselves both of them are securely mounted. They're not cracked, bent, broken, missing. The rubber is not ripped or torn, is not dry rotted, and I have the proper spring tension held tightly against the windshield. Now that I've finished with all of those things, I'm going to do a tug test. So to do my tug test, I want to make sure that I got 90 to 120 before I start my tug test, which I'm good. I'm going to push in the trailer valve, and I'm going to be checking the tractor. I'm going to put my foot onto the brake, put my truck into drive, put my foot on the accelerator, and I'm going to feel for a tug. Put back on the brake, back to neutral, pulling out my trailer valve. That was the tug test for my tractor. Now I'm going to push in the tractor to check my trailer. Put on the brake, put it back to drive, put my foot on the accelerator, feel for a tug. Back to the brake, back to neutral, pulling out my tractor valve. That was the tug test for my trailer. Truck is in neutral, brakes are out, or both my brakes are set. I will verbally tell you my service brake. For the service brake, you would push those in, you would put the truck into drive. You'll go about 5 miles an hour. When you get to be about 5 miles an hour, you're going to put your foot on the brake. When you put your foot on the brake, you want to make sure that the truck comes to a complete stop, which verifies that the brakes work properly. You also want to make sure that the truck doesn't pull from side to side, which would indicate a suspension problem. You also want to make sure that the ABS light is off. All of that doing good, that means your brakes work properly. Next, you're going to turn the truck off. You're going to get out and go chalk your tires. My tires are already chalked, so I don't have to do that. I'm going to get back in, turn the key to the on position, but do not start it. All right, starting with step one. Step one, I need to make sure that I have a minimum of 105 PSI. So right now my gauges look good. I got a minimum of 105 PSI. Step two, you're going to push in the yellow and red, and you're going to lose 10 to 15 PSI immediately. Step three, when the air stabilizes, I will lose no more than 3 PSI per minute. Do you want me to count or continue?
Continue.
All right. Step four, I'm going to put my foot onto the brake, and I'm going to hold it for an entire minute. And at this time, I will lose no more than 4 PSI per minute with the brake applied. I'm going to go ahead and start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. When I get to 60, I'm going to take my foot off of the brake and listen for it to go shh, and to put it onto the floor. Last 2 steps I'm going to say together, and then I'm going to conduct it. So step 5, I'm going to fan my brakes until I get to approximately or around 60 PSI. And at around 60 PSI, the warning light and the buzzer is going to sound. Step 6, I'm going to continue to fan my brakes until both of my gauges reach around 20 to 40 PSI. And at that time, each of my spring brakes will set. All right, here I go. So, as you see, the warning light sounded around 60 PSI, correct? And both of my gauges, or not my gauges, but here you got 60 PSI, and over here both my warning light and buzzers both sounded, okay? And you want to make sure that both of the valves, each of your spring brakes have set. And you'll know that because they're both out and you can see the little teeth up here. Do not reach up and pull it. It's an automatic fail. All right. Otherwise, that's about it. If everything is good, they'll have you get out and do coupling. If it's not, they'll ask you to do a reset.